Send for the king. Open the gate! How is this possible?
Alright, so Wyatt, you said what? 4 or 5 you haven't seen?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna do this by myself, by the way, if no one else had shown any interest. Kinda glad I'm not doing that. It might be a little bit awkward, just me talking to myself. Talking to an imaginary audience. I'm not sure if I'll ever be good at that.
It's a skill.
Kinda what it
It's
is
a
a skill.
skill.
That's why I'm not streaming, really. Solo streaming.
Yeah. It's a skill to just chit chat to
I
yourself.
don't know how to be entertaining by myself. I need something to like bounce off of. I need someone to like bully and gaslight.
I've called it like call and response. A lot of my sense of humor, because I don't have one-liners. I don't have like, horse walks into a bar jokes. But what I can do is someone says something stupid, make a comment on it, or I say something stupid and someone makes a comment on that. And with my attentional stupidness, it's humorous, because someone will pick on me and they'll laugh at me. I like to be the butt of joke, but that's impossible without somebody else. So I get it.
You know, you two have done way more streaming than I have. Like, way more. So you two probably have better muscles than I do. It just...
Geo takes the cake, bro. I
That's
was
true.
watching your
You
stream the other
stream...
day.
You stream every day, almost.
Were you playing Overwatch at first, and then you switched over to this like anime fighting game? What was that?
I was playing Guilty Gear Strive.
I've never heard of that one. That looked fun.
Yeah, it's
And then you
one
played
of
like a horror film one or something, and I was busy at that point, so
so far I've mainly been playing Overwatch 2.
I know, because you all bloody have. Everyone on my friends list is... Friends list is playing that. Yeah. Actually, we're doing a tier maker for Overwatch characters. Most bangable.
oh,
I'm down
I
for
can
that.
contribute.
I'm down for that.
We can get Winston out of the way ahead of time, because he's S tier.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not even. He's his own.
Should probably do the YouTube thing. Greetings, mortals. We have to do this properly. Say hello, you two. I'm joined by Wyatt, aka Box 5 Robot. If you want to say hi.
Hello.
There you go. And Adrian, aka Geo Ninja. No, that's not your name anymore.
Nope.
Geo Straker?
Yes. Hello.
How do you say
I'm
it?
Geo Strega. Geo Strega.
Okay. Listen, I prefer your other one.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say it.
Well, you're gonna get used to the witch. I'm no longer a ninja.
You can't keep changing your name though, you have to stick with it now.
Yeah, this will be the one. This is the one.
Alright,
This is the one.
yeah, I guess surprise, because I said I wasn't going to make another video until the new computer came. That was a lie. I had this in my pocket the whole time. This is also going to be the last video of the old PC before I
Rest in peace.
dump the crap out of it.
Set it on fire.
Set it on exactly. Throw it in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Put some dynamite in it.
I don't know, I'll see if I can flog it. I might be able to get something. It's not good. It's not a good PC anymore. It was in like 2016. But yeah, I won't be sorry to see it go. I've had problems. I literally crashed right before we started recording. Which is a great sign. I really don't want to have to record this again, but we might have to.
Let's knock on some wood. Fingers crossed that we don't, crash during this.
Heads up. Let's hope we can keep this one. We'll see.
Couldn't do it.
We might be here a while, or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we're ranking Disney films because that's a really easy idea and lazy, and everyone's already done it. In fact, a big channel did it right as I had the idea to do it. And if we had done this before New Year's, like it was the original plan, because this wouldn't be a New Year's video, the channel would probably beat me by like a week or two.
Most YouTubers copy and paste anyway. That's the whole game.
I think the channel's Shafrilus. I think I've watched like maybe 1 or 2 of his videos before. And I was really annoyed because I was like, oh, that's like a great idea to do. And then literally like a few days later, I see that video pop up. It's really popular. And I'm like, oh, great.
Your thoughts showed up in the algorithm.
That f***er. Now people are going to say I'm copying him. But I don't care. My tier list is probably different anyway, because I rank things differently to people.
Exactly.
You said their name was Shit Fervilous?
No. I don't know how you pronounce his name. He has a weird name. He's got
I'm
like...
gonna go with Shit Fervilous.
He's got the crab from Moana as a profile.
Island. Island.
Don't look it up now. Doing our own thing. Let's explain the ranking. So, I said to these two, I'm going to try to rate these objectively as I can, just on how good they are, just on their own merits, with no biases. But, I say that. There might be some bias, but I'm going to try not to. So this isn't a great, like, in-depth review like the Fox and the Hound video. This is just my general thoughts on every single one. And as you can see here, only the mainline films are included. That's theatrical animated films by Disney. So
Are you able to get how did making this tier list work? Like, do you have to search up the eras in order, or?
Well, I had the errors in my head already because I'm a fucking nerd. But I checked the list just in case. There were a couple of surprises for me. I forgot that The Rescuers 2 was a theatrical release. I thought that was a straight to DVD, but no. Actually, it did come out. So that's included.
Yeah.
So no Pixar, no Don Bluth, only Disney animated. Also, no anthology films. So no Fantasia, no what they call Fun and Fancy Free, all those musical ones. No no Winnie the Pooh movies. And no straight to DVD Disney sequels. That could be its own tier list. There are so many. Alright.
Let's do it.
Snow White.
Snow White. You know,
And the Seven Dwarfs.
and the Seven Doors, ever since I've learned about, we all learned about it eventually, like
Go on.
what Snow White's originally based off of, it's always made me feel pretty uncomfortable.
You could say that about
Most
all of them.
original. All, yeah.
Snow White, the first
like,
one.
A lot of what I like Disney for is the music, and other than the song with the dwarves, I don't know. Snow White's never been on
There wasn't
top
really
of my
much-
list.
For like the original films, there wasn't really much for musicals. Like, they had like the big part, and then they'll have like 2 more pieces, and then they'll just repeat the big part, but in like a more like slight tone.
I liked Whistle While You Work. That stayed in my head.
But overall, the film, it's good. It's do I say it's aged well? Yes.
I think it's timeless. In fact, I think they're all timeless, the old ones.
I don't think it's under B. I
Well,
don't
okay,
think
let
it'd be
me
C plus and under,
explain what
because-
I've done here a little bit. I should have said that right at the get-go. So, this is how it's going to be. C is like not a fail. I should mention that I'm not rating these in terms of how I would usually rate movies, like 1 to 10, in a general sense. These films are being ranked against each other. So, how I usually do it is 5 out of 10 is like middle of the road average. It's not too good, it's not too bad, it's a film. And it gets that rating if either there's a lot of good in it, good writing, but also a lot of bad, like plot holes and stuff that hold it back. I can give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Or the film is just fine.
Mm.
It's like, it doesn't do too well in either up or down. So, that's to give you an idea. If I was to do that with the letters, I guess C would be 5. That's not exactly how it's going to go. C does not mean fail. The only two I would consider a failing, like the movies actually lean towards bad, would be D and D+. I didn't bother with E's and F's because I don't think there are any E's and F's here, really. I take that back, there's one. We'll get to it. You already know what it is. Snow White. Yeah, I like it. It's fine. It's a solid start to what would be a long length of success, for the most part.
I think, yeah, since it's like one of the earliest predecessors for these movies, I don't think it deserves to be under a B. It's set a stage.
If you want to talk about cultural impact, it's one of the top ones and always will be, because it's number one. Just rating it by its own merits. Characters, Snow White is a blank slate. She's just nice, and that's her character. She's nice. She's innocent, naive, and nice. She's a 14-year-old kid with very nasty things thrown her way, out of her control.
Bless her heart.
She doesn't really change throughout the whole film, so there's not much to say about her. I think the dwarves and the queen steal the show, for obvious
Absolutely.
reasons. They're the actual main characters. Snow White is just a vehicle.
They had their own final battle for the most part at the end.
Um,
Well, not a final battle, but it was just funny seeing the dwarves chase the queen up the hill.
yeah. Funny enough, the dwarves do kind of have an arc. They live a very sheltered life. They seem to do the same thing every day, and God, do they love doing it. By jolly gosh. They love mining, they love collecting gems, they love living in a little house. Snow White comes in and changes everything, and they grow attached to her.
They grow attached to it. They just accept
Yeah.
it. They just roll with it. Like, there's just like, oh, this girl didn't just come into our home and just clean our stuff. But, you know, this is fine. We'll roll with it. This is normal.
And not because they thought she was hot, they just like her because she's nice. And they're really happy when the prince comes in and sweeps her off her feet at the end.
Yep.
They're just happy that she's alive again.
Yep. The end.
And they were going to straight up kill the queen by the end.
They
if you
were.
remember. They
Yeah,
were coming for the kill.
They were ready to murder her.
That was after Snow White was dead. I always like that.
But yeah, I say C plus would be a reasonable spot.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
that.
I would have gave a B right off the bat, but I think I agree with you guys. C plus works.
Some of these films are going to be like Snow White, where I don't really have much to say, because there's not much in the film that I can really use to talk about writing quality, really.
Because most of them are like really straightforward, and it's just
Some
like
of them
the same. Like, yeah, some, and others have like the happy character. They meet the love of their life. Evil person comes by, saves the day. The end, you know.
Yeah, it's cut and dry, executed well, but you know, I think C plus for now. These are liable to change as I go if I change my mind. All right. So speaking of themes and executing themes, Pinocchio.
I would either put that that's either behind Snow White or below.
Right. So tell me what you think of Pinocchio, because we're going to say different things, I think.
I think
Because you watched it recently, right?
Yeah, it's just like for a refresher. And at first watching it, like originally, you know, when you watch it, like, oh, this is a good movie. You know, happy ending, Pinocchio trying to become a real boy, you see Jiminy Cricket. And then watching it again, I just realized like this kid really is just making really punk decisions. And it's not even for like he didn't really listen to his conscience. He just kept going with it. And it's like, oh, okay, this person's telling me the right direction. I'll roll with it now. Until he realizes how bad it is. And he's like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't great. And then he lies. But then he understands that, oh, lying's not good. I gotta be actually truthful. And then he saves the day.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you just said, and I think that's really well executed. Just to give you an idea, I think he belongs up here. If not up
Really?
here. Yeah. I think Pinocchio is really fucking good. I think people sleep on that film. Pinocchio's arc is very well done. Like you said, yeah, he is a very naive pup. He was literally born yesterday.
Wasn't the whole objective like he was created and the cricket was his conscience and
Yeah, the Blue Fairy set him a test to turn him to a real boy. She would only do it if he would be a good person and a good son to Geppetto. Which is a nice moral test if you give something life, I suppose. But fundamentals aside, what you said, Adrian, is absolutely true, but it is not snap and drag. It's very gradual throughout the film. He does get wiser as he goes. The first time he gets swindled by the two crooks, the fox and the cat. What was his name? Honest John, that was it.
Yeah.
He falls for a hook, line, and sinker, and he completely ignores Jiminy, which is very annoying. But he's a kid, and he's not very bright because he's barely lived in this world. And yeah, that goes very badly for him. The second time he gets swindled, it's a bit more effort by Honest John to get him to fall for the second trick. Pinocchio's constantly saying, I need to go back.
Like, I gotta go home, I gotta go home.
And he keeps using very charismatic ways to lure him back and convince him he's sick. That he needs a holiday. That is different to what he did before. Yeah, Pinocchio's arc is like diagonal throughout the film. When he goes to Pleasure Island, he's influenced by other boys his own age, which is kind of new for him because he hasn't interacted with children yet. He would have if he went to school, but he didn't. So he just copies and mimics them because that's how boys act his age. Because that's literally the only children he's interacted with were the bad ones. And that turns out really bad for him. And all these experiences throughout the whole film turn him into the badass he is at the end, where he's completely selfless and saves himself. Sacrifices himself to save Geppetto. Using wise ideas that he's got throughout his film, his journey. Such as immediately thinking of making the whale sneeze to free them both. Literally diving into the ocean to search for who knows how long. Off the vain attempt to find his dad who's been swallowed by a whale. Pinocchio is the G. He is a boss. He earns that humanification at the end. I think that film is great. The other characters are fine too. You get a really scary villain who's not Honest John. It's the other guy who comes in the third act.
The fat man.
I mean, literally Satan. In human form. Wyatt, do you have anything to say on it? Sorry, I kind of stole the mic for a bit.
You're all good.
I think Pinocchio. I think people sleep on that film. It's really good.
It delivers a very solid message. Like looking at it as a children's movie, it pretty much tells you that like, in order to be honest with yourself, to be a real boy, to be the human, like when you lie, people know, the growing the nose thing. When you do bad things, bad stuff happens to you. So it has a good message.
Yeah,
like comparing it to Snow White, I don't know the entire message from Snow White. It's not as apparent maybe to me, but with Pinocchio, immediately, like, you're lying, your nose grows, it's obvious if you're lying. You get in with the wrong crowd, you start to do things that aren't good.
Yeah,
so delivers a good message. It's clear to the point. I haven't watched the movie in a long time.
That's fine.
I did watch
listen, just for reference, anyone watching this, I dragged these two in because I just wanted some company, and they kind of like animated films. So I don't expect you to have like a huge vested interest in Pinocchio, but I do, and I'm a fucking nerd, so I will talk my head off about some of these.
It caught me off guard. I mean, you're the first person to tell me like people actually sleep on Pinocchio.
Listen, watch that film again. Watch it again. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I mean,
as far as like cautionary tales go, Disney has a lot of these are cautionary tales in some way. Pinocchio is one of the most effective ones. It gets dark when it needs to be.
That's
It has
gonna
like
be
a
dark.
good, it has a good balance of light, cheery moments, but also
Yeah, like the pleasure-
consequences.
Yeah, the Pleasure Island scene was like a big one. That was probably scary. I feel that's a scary part of the movie.
Definitely makes people feel uncomfortable, and the animation style, and looking back on, watching it now and what we expect animation to be out of these films, it can make you uncomfortable. It's definitely has a dark vibe, grim.
Okay. I think he's gonna chill up here for now. Again, these might change as we go. All right.
Yeah, he's a good spot. Yeah.
Dumbo. I have less to say on Dumbo. I take it both of you. I'm gonna keep asking. Have you two both watched it?
I watched it.
Yeah.
The time. Yeah. We talked
A minute
about it.
ago.
I watched it for the first time, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's a little cherry film, a little acid trip.
Little acid trip. That's
That's
a good way
true.
to put
There
it.
is literally an acid trip. Yeah.
Based off how memorable it is to me, C.
What a weird.
Better these other films that have a little more impact in my memory. That's
What a weird
what I would give it.
idea for a film. What if a baby elephant had
Big ears and
big
could
ears
fly.
that could fly with them? And yet that only comes up at the end. He has like 3 flying scenes.
And then then at the end it's over. So it's like, in terms of what Dumbo does, is kind of stale. Like,
Don't be
yeah, like,
mean to Dumbo, because eventually he can fly and be kind of cool. Don't be mean to the big-eared kid. I don't know about the message. It's okay.
Bullying is bad.
Bullying is bad.
that, and also
Because-
I think it was also the message for animal cruelty, for how people treated animals during the circus.
Yeah.
There are some interesting things to talk about. It's kind of like shows its age though. I'm not sure if I should include it in this video. There's not too much interesting to say about Dumbo as the film though.
It was really straightforward.
One of the interesting things I noticed the last time I watched it was it kind of takes a jab at class-based society. Do you guys remember at the end when they meet the crows?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to get a little bit uncomfortable, but I'll try and be brief, and we can move on. But you notice how the crows all have black actors' voices?
Yeah.
Some of the things that they say to Dumbo is like, "What you doing on our turf?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, they get very defensive about it. Like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And like,
Yeah.
"You're in a tree, you idiot." It's just maybe alluding to something else. I don't know.
Yep.
It's a little, I don't know, a little uncomfortable to talk about. But otherwise,
I think it's due. That's due. I think that's just the timeline.
Came out in the
Movie.
40s, right? So
Yeah. So at that time, that was still where shit was still going on, kind of.
as a film, Dumbo's cute, I guess. It's a cute elephant, and he has like a rough life because people are mean to him because he has big ears.
And they didn't want to count him as an elephant anymore for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like everyone was mean as shit to him for no reason.
Yeah, there are 2 other good characters in that film. Well, actually, the crows are good.
Crows were cool. They're just assholes in the beginning, just because, the new guys around like, oh, who the fuck are you? But then they grew up on him because he started flying. He's like, oh shit.
The mouse was kind of a Chad. I liked him. Alright, C2, I guess. I don't have anything to say about Dumbo, really.
C's satisfying
Mhm.
for that one.
That feels right to me. Not a bad film, just it's okay. This one might be more interesting. Bambi, how do you feel about that?
Bambi.
For a while, I always thought Bambi was a girl.
Bambi's not a girl?
Bambi is 100% a male.
Yeah, he is
Wow.
110% testosterone-fueled male.
see at the end, you see his antlers, and you see him fight like
You've
10,000 dogs, and he like,
and beats up another
Oh, man,
male who tries to take his
uh,
bitch.
yeah, he throws that like asshole in the fucking river, and he's just like,
Yeah, he fucking tosses him down the hill.
Uh, no, Bambi sounds more badass than I remember.
yeah, honestly,
At the end, yeah.
at the end, I'm like, holy
Um,
fuck, you going deep.
I had a conversation with another friend about Bambi. Good old Steve, and he says he hates Bambi because of how boring it is. Do you guys think it's boring?
Not really. It was certainly for me. It was certainly a film. One thing I noticed, I don't know if it's an animation error, but it was certain scenes, characters' eyes changed color. So it was like the beginning when the mouse was washing his face. Like at first they were brown, then they turned green, and then the next scene after, when Bambi was born and Thumper was walking away, and he was like, "Oh, so what are you gonna name? What's the name?" He's like, "I'm gonna name him Bambi." It's like, Bambi, I like that. And when Thumper leaves, you see the mom's eyes were brown. They close open again. They turn green, and I'm just like, "What?" Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know if that's a problem or something, but I don't know. I don't know. It didn't really feel
You
like
are probably more likely to see stuff like that in the traditional hand-drawn films, because those they take a long time to animate, and you got different people working on them at the same time. So yeah, that probably happens a lot actually in all of these films, and people rarely notice because they're hard to spot. Anyway, I reckon Bambi is basically it is a documentary film. It is the concept is the life of these woodland animals if they could talk like humans amongst themselves, and that's it. It's interesting seeing through their eyes how they consider man not as like this monster or this evil tyrant that needs to be stopped or anything like that. They see man as they would see any other predator or animal. He's just an apex unseen threat that is so strong that they can't even see, they don't even know what man looks like. They just recognize him by the gunshot. And yeah, they treat it like anything else that would be in the forest. Something to be avoided. It is a very slow film. A lot of it is just Bambi learning about the world. So I don't blame people for thinking it's boring. As an art piece, which it is an art film, I would consider it. It does it pretty well.
It looks really good. Yes, the whole like the anatomy of all the animals. It didn't really have like the Disney wonk to it. It actually felt like I was watching a nature documentary for real.
I'm gonna put it just behind Snow White. I think Snow White edges out a little bit better. I'm gonna do that, by the way. If I think something is at the top of a tier, I'll put it most left, right. Cinderella.
Cinderella's really a blur.
Cinderella has a bit more going on as a character than Snow White, and I'm going to compare it to Snow White because they're both very similar.
Because she starts off poor, shits on by everyone.
Yeah. It's kind of implied Snow White has like a rough life as well, because you see her in rags at the very beginning.
Yeah, but it's not as rough for Snow White because she's just nice. She's just overall nice to people, and everyone she meets is like.
Well, we don't really know much about Snow White, her life before, whereas we know everything about Cinderella, which makes her a bit more compelling.
She has a much more character.
Her life is pretty rough, but she doesn't let in. She gets frustrated, but that doesn't affect her personality.
I realized I was muted. I would say B. Like, she was bullied by her stepsisters and her stepmom. She had no way like escape, and even though somebody who wasn't like upper echelon or well known, she was recognized by the prince, and they fell in love. And then there's a whole story behind her losing her slipper, and I think the story compared to Snow White is a bit better, a little more intriguing because you're rooting for Cinderella like the whole time. Like Snow White, like you mentioned before, her character's kind of blame, but Cinderella, she went from the bottom and now she's getting recognized by like this royalty, but then she has a timeline before, for to return the slipper. It's coming back to me as I talk about it. I don't remember entirely, but
It feels a bit
it
more
set the course to
earned.
so many different films and movies. So like I don't know, the writing seems like it's really well done.
Her reward at the end seems a bit more earned than Snow White's, whereas Snow White is just kind of like a vehicle for things to happen to her. Cinderella, at least,
She had to work her way for it.
yeah, work her life away to the bone.
Question
When
about
she
Snow
should
White.
not have.
The prince that kissed her, did he know her prior, or was that like just like necrophilic? Like he was just into dead chicks in the forest.
No,
He
they
meet-
meet
they
once
meet
at the very
mansion.
beginning because he checks her out over the garden wall, and then she's like, "Oh no, a man!"
Oh no,
me."
man! I'm gonna run away. Yeah.
But then she's like, she's
Oh,
into
okay,
it. She
okay.
looks at him through the window. He starts singing, and she's like, "Oh, okay."
Okay, I actually want to go meet him.
Uh,
And then eventually, what was it, the dwarves found him, or he just stumbled across the dwarves crying.
Yeah,
And so it's like, okay, I'll show up and kiss Snow White, and she comes back to life, and yeah, I'll take you away, my golden castle. The end.
yeah. Listen, sometimes the plot isn't that well thought out. That's why it's down at C+. I like it for the characters, not so much the
Like,
what happens.
I swear, if we were just talking about this just for like just the base of like the narrative, I feel like Snow White probably be at the bottom.
No,
Or-
no,
or
not
we
even
just talk
close.
Or what
We'll
if we
get
talk
to
about,
that.
or if we talk about the main character alone?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. We're not judging these by the main character alone. This is the whole film. It's just I'm trying to think of things to say before I rank them to give you an idea of why I'm putting them there. I think B is good for Cinderella.
yeah.
Characters are a bit more compelling compared to the other films. I think Pinocchio is still the standout character by himself. We're judging them all by character.
Like, how the fuck the puppet the best one?
Because he's a boss, he's the man.
He's a real boy.
He's the real boy.
I'm a real boy.
Alright, Alice in Wonderland. How do you feel about that?
That was an acid trip. I liked it.
Something was spiked in that tea, I think.
Alice in Wonderland was such a fun film to watch.
It is a
It was
fun
And
film.
it was like puzzling, and I'm still not sure if there is.
I gotta watch it again to understand what the hell is actually going on.
The
I think I
plot, the
actually
whole
watched
plot
a bit of that recently.
is Alice goes down a rabbit hole because she's just aware of the fairies character who's bored with real life and learning and school, which is a very normal kid thing to be. And she'd rather be creative and make up her own world. And then she discovers her own world is nuts, and maybe reality ain't so bad, because she gets really frustrated with her own craziness, because this is a world, at least it's implied, this is a world she made up and is dreaming.
Playing by the Madness McGee games.
Yeah. And yeah, I think they portray Wonderland like its own character. It's quite neat.
I think it's one of the funnest films on this list. I don't know how much of an important message it has compared to something like Pinocchio, but it's just entertaining.
I guess the biggest
would
one would
say more-
be pure unadulterated chaos is not a good thing. And
Yeah, I guess that would
it's
be the
good to
best.
be imaginative, but don't.
Don't go
It's important to live in the real world as well.
Mhm.
I gain appreciation for this movie after watching oh shoot, I just forgot it. It's the one where the girl gets lost and she has to go to a maze, and there's a rock star in it, David Bowie, I think.
Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Maze
No,
Runner?
just Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is
Just-
a different film.
That's Labyrinth. I watched that not too long ago to have it gave me more appreciation.
That is actually Alice in
For Alice.
Wonderland, you're right. That's a good comparison. Same idea.
Yeah. Same idea, she gets lost, has to go through these crazy things, and there's interesting characters all throughout it. Like how do you say it? Cheshire Cat? Cheshire Cat?
Cheshire Cat.
Cashier cat.
Cheshire Cat. He's an awesome character. He's so weird. And the
I love
caterpillar,
the
I don't
Cheshire
know.
Cat.
I'm a big fan.
He's
of
my favorite
Alice in
character.
Wonderland. I think it's like top tier film.
The White Rabbit.
He did?
He did what?
Went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
What rabbit?
Pretty much.
He knows everything. He knows exactly what's going on. Despite being crazy, he's also the least crazy one. Also, I think the Cheshire Cat was the only character in that world that actually helped Alice. And I find it interesting that she has a cat companion at the beginning, and then that disappears. And then the Cheshire Cat's the only one that helps her find her way home, so to speak. Which is a cool little detail they added.
Nice. Yes, that's cool.
Alright, yeah, I think B+, right?
B+,
I don't think it's quite Pinocchio level, but it's damn good.
She's not a real boy.
She's not a real boy.
She's a real
Who here on this
fruitcake.
list can be a real boy?
We'll find out.
You can be a real boy if you subscribe.
In order to be a real boy today, don't forget to hit that like button.
Smash that like button. Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan killed the kids.
The Lost Boys.
I love this film.
I think
Subjectively, feelings-wise, I love this film. This is another fun one.
It was a bitch of a boss fight in Kingdom Hearts, though.
I think you can kind of tell. You got the Golden Age movies, right? Which is these four, arguably. And then you're starting to lean more towards Silver Age with these ones. Alice and Cinderella, Peter Pan. I feel like their ideas get more fun as they go. Because at first it's Snow White. Horrible things just happen around this girl. And then she meets some dwarves, and then they kill the jealous queen. Bambi and Dumbo are just more or less documentaries. I know Dumbo's a bit more fantastical, but essentially it's just the life of these animals who have it pretty hard. But then you got like Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan. I don't know what I'm trying to say, just like ideas that should be made into animated films. Neverland is a cool. Neverland and Wonderland are both really cool places to see.
Instead of it being like dark and serious, more like actually like.
Well, no, it's still dark and serious. I'm saying like the ideas are like handmade for a Disney film. If that makes
growing
sense.
up, you know, as a young boy
Cater
that I once was, Peter Pan was so appealing. Going off this adventures, living forever with your young homies, saving people. There's adventure involved. Peter Pan really resonated in me growing up, more than like Cinderella would, because I'm not a pretty girl or a princess. But some goofy adventure of the imaginations that was going on in the family's farm. Peter Pan, just someone like me growing up, was top tier as well. It's a good tell for a coming of age story for someone growing up.
It glorifies childhood and adulthood and growing up at the same time. I think what the film's trying to say is that don't be in a rush to grow up, but don't stay a kid. It is important to mature. And
I want to put
I
it
think it does it pretty well.
like right there. B+, not as good as Alice in Wonderland, because of how fun that film is to me. I would put it right behind Alice in Wonderland. Better than Cinderella, but
It's kind
not
of
as
hard
good as
to
Alice in
judge objectively all the time, because a lot of these films are just either decent or good. And then some of them are very good. I think it's easier to tell apart the very good ones from like the decent ones. I'm gonna guess that B and C are gonna be inflated, but we'll see. A, I'm gonna try
Makes
to keep,
sense.
you know, limited, as well as D. Those will be limited as well, because I think most of these films don't fit into either one. And then S is gonna be, you know, absolute top king.
I already know what my S is gonna be.
I
yeah.
think B plus is the right spot for it. Characters are compelling.
Not as compelling as Alice in Wonderland. You have so many iconic characters in that movie compared to Peter Pan. Like you have Captain Hook, right? That was his name. Schmitty. What was the name of Captain Hook's first mate?
Captain Hook
I
is
don't
one of the
remember.
best villains, just watching him in his element. Also, I'm not entirely sure if he's a villain. The only thing he's got going against him is being a pirate. He's hunting Peter Pan because he cut off his hand.
I'll bet it to a crocodile.
Worst thing he does is that he targets the children around Peter Pan in order to off him. But even then, he doesn't threaten to kill them. He actually invites them to join his crew, or they have to walk the plank. It's like,
But how old are these kids? Like, don't they live forever?
10 at
Maybe they're not
most.
really kids anymore. They just have kids' bodies.
Like 8, 10.
they're kids.
All right.
It keeps
won't
it
think too
keeps
much
you
into
from
it.
growing up. Kind of the point. All right. Yeah, I think B plus is right for it. Out of who's the best between these two as films, I would have to look into them really deeply to do that. None of these films I've broken into really deeply before, except for a few. Obviously, The Fox and the Hound is one of them. This list will help me figure out which ones I want to talk about next. Like I said before to you two in private, I've already got two in mind. Lady and the Tramp.
All I remember is dogs eating spaghetti.
Yeah, that's spaghetti. That's it. And you know, when you ever go on your first dates with some cute girl, and you're like, order
wanna impress
pasta,
them.
and you just think to yourself, "You want a Lady and Tramp this?" I mean, I've never said that. I've definitely thought it, but that's it. Some handsome dogs going on dates.
Yeah, I thought it was just a film, really.
Yeah, it's kind of just Romeo and Juliet with dogs.
With dogs, yeah. I mean,
Kind of class-based drama as well. You got a vagrant, vagabond, and an upper-class lady. And they both kind of affect each other and change each other. They influence each other.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Yeah, definitely more character than Snow White.
There's more character development in Snow White, for sure, I think. Is it C plus or is it B? I mean, I like it.
I wouldn't give it a B personally, but
Well,
I
if
think
it's
C
more-
plus is fine for it.
Yeah, I haven't got too much more to say, like, off the top of my head. This is completely off the cuff, by the way. I haven't watched these recently. I mean, I've watched them to death. All of them. Except for a few. Yeah. Well, this isn't supposed to be in-depth anyway. We'll move on. Well, you can say C+, I guess. I think it's a little bit more
I'll say
high
B.
quality than Snow White. Maybe. Well, these are liable to change. Sleeping Beauty. What do you guys think of this film?
I just watched that recently. The way you said that sounds like you're about to say massive shit. but
No.
at the same time, no.
Don't judge don't judge anything I say out of context. What do you guys think of this film?
Personally, I think it looked very good. I don't know if it was the beginning of like the stretch on the screen, cause I noticed like watching like Snow White, that was like shit was like a square. So what was that like? What's that normal ratio? Like 8.
I
It was
don't
like
know.
4,
No
3.
idea.
Oh, okay. But so I don't know if it was like the beginning or the first, but like once like it had a wider screen and being able to see more, I don't know. It felt like I was actually watching a movie. Like it was like a real movie. We
I
could
don't know.
draw it
I
in
would
there.
have to compare versions, I guess. This film is... I mean, all of these films on this list are gorgeous in one way or another. This film, though, I have to say, is a beautiful film.
It is. It is.
Those gorgeous painted backdrops almost worth the price admission on its own.
Like it felt like an actual, like I say, like it actually felt like a real person, like people were actually in it.
Also, kind of like unsung heroes that people don't talk about much. Those three fairies are underrated as hell.
They're the goat. They're also the goat.
They're really compelling. They're like Pinocchio tier characters.
Yeah.
I agree.
Especially the blue one. Yo, she was out for blood.
Yeah.
I like
but-
their magical abilities too. I thought those
It
added a cool mage-like style to them. I
That's
I
the
like
funny
that
thing,
homage.
though. Okay, we're gonna put the whole kingdom to sleep. Or the enemy can just come in and invade.
Unfortunately, Sleeping Beauty herself, Aurora, that's her name. She kind of gets the Snow White treatment, where she's basically just a vehicle where things happen around her. She's a plot piece that the plot revolves around, rather than her own character. She just wants more out of life, which is kind of like a base for every other Disney princess. But I think over, say, these two, up in B+, the other characters in that film are very compelling. They have more going on. Even the Prince Philip, he gets to do stuff as well.
Yeah.
He's kind of a badass,
You follow us.
which is kind of crazy. Most of the princes are just princes. They're just handsome.
Yeah, just handsome. This guy fought the final boss.
And the reason I like this film, so if you haven't noticed by now, this is my favorite one out of the old school films. Favorite personally, I wouldn't call it the best. One of the reasons are the characters. Maleficent is the best one, I think. She steals the show almost as much as the fairies do.
Every goddamn time she showed up, she was a proper villain.
She's still regarded to this day as like the villain of villains.
Oh, nice.
She's usually like the ringleader when it comes to like mashups between the villains.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It would be like her, then a second would be like Jafar.
She was the first one to get a live action solo movie, which is a different beast entirely. But
First one was fire. You talking about with the Angelina Jolie?
yeah.
First one I thought was really well, but we could talk about live actions.
That can be
Another
a
time.
whole different tier
Yeah.
list.
Try not to get my biases out the way, because as much as I like this film, it's like it'd be up there. It was just me liking it. Yeah, I love this film. I'm not even sure why I love it so much. Besides, just I like the characters and what they do, and what they accomplish, and what they go through. I find that very compelling. Otherwise, I don't think it's like greatly written or anything. It's fine. It's a very simple story.
Yeah, either there at B+ or B in front of Cinderella. For me, I think. Would you say the world building is pretty good in Sleeping Beauty? Like, there's
it's
a lot of locations they were at.
typical
Yeah.
medieval fantasy. Well, it's not even fantasy. Well, technically it is fantasy. Low fantasy. There's nothing that breaks in it. The plot is fine, I think. There's no problems with it. It's mostly down to the characters to carry it, and they do. Apart from Aurora, she doesn't do much. Yeah, I guess maybe the other two films are a little bit better. If I'm gonna rate it as a critic, not as a
In terms of in
No, it's
terms
a
of
goon.
like art, I say Sleeping Beauty tops those two. But then in terms of as the story went and the usage of the characters, like they didn't use their main character that much. It was just like you were saying, just there, and for when shit to happen, she was just in the way or an obstacle just to be used.
It would
So-
be up here if the whole film was like that third act, where they ramp up the tension like crazy.
Mhm. And definitely,
And-
this is based on like this is a tier list for animations. I would definitely put it in A+.
Maybe this might have to be a film I talk about one day. It might
definitely.
deserve its own video.
That'd be a good one to talk
But
about.
that's because I'm biased. That's my bias talking. Anyway, 101 Dalmatians.
101 Dalmatians. That was also an annoying thing to do in Kingdom Hearts.
This film was terrifying. Like Cruella de Vil was terrifying. She wanted to steal these puppies to wear them, and thinking about it, watching it growing up, I was like, I hated Cruella de Vil because it's a little more relatable. We all had pets. Like, I mean, no one in real life slept for 100 years, but we all had pets. We don't want someone to take our pets.
There's something like skin crawling about Cruella. As far as like the villains go, except for Captain Hook, and I mean some of them don't have villains, like Lady and the Tramp really doesn't have one. She's kind of low tier in terms of like evilness. I mean, skinning puppies is bad, but it's not as bad as, say, cursing a woman to sleep forever when she turns 16, or wanting to murder a 14-year-old girl.
I say she's the Joker of Disney.
She's there's something particularly like personal about skinning puppies and making a coat out of them.
And it's just weird because then you got the stupid Cruella movie explaining her origin.
Yeah, and trying to wrap around our heads that, hey, it's not her fault. She's
all the dog's fault that her mom died and she wants to.
Yeah, Dalmatians killed her mum in a really fucking goofy manner.
It seems like that live action though is taking it not to make her a villain anymore.
It's like you're trying to make an unredeemable evil character compelling.
Yeah.
And even in that film alone, she's not compelling because she's a fucking thief.
Mm-hmm. Overall, yeah, that movie was pretty weird.
We're not talking about that movie, we're talking about this movie.
Yeah,
we need to stop.
Sorry.
I enjoy this movie a bunch because
so do I.
What it represents is like this elitist human being who thinks she can just have whatever she wants, and when she can't, she sends some bad guys to do her dirty work, and it's this loving family. So it kind of presents this representation of like classes, and I know that that's a reoccurring theme in a bunch of movies, but
kind of is, I guess. It's gonna come up again. There's another film where I'll talk about it more that does it a bit better, I think.
Yeah.
As far as themes go in this film, there's nothing too strong. Like, I'm trying to judge things by how well they do the theme, not just the theme itself, because having a theme is cheap. You can draw many themes out of many films, and it would be valid. I can't
remember. I thought it did the theme pretty well personally, but I can't remember the ending. Like,
I haven't seen this film for a while. No, she doesn't.
Did any of the puppies get, off?
No.
Off? I don't...
Hell no.
God.
Any bad things?
Actually, that's a lie. The fat one gets fucking pounded in the head at the end with a baseball bat.
Oh.
No, that's a lie.
Oh.
Yeah, B.
It's hard to put this somewhere for me. B sounds right.
I think it's better than Cinderella a little bit. It's about the same.
It might not have had the cultural impact that Cinderella did. Everyone wanted to be Cinderella growing up.
I think this is kind of a sleeper. I can see that. Not a huge cultural footprint. Actually, no, you know what? I say that, but it's had lots of spin-offs and sequels and stuff.
TV shows.
Maybe that's actually a stupid thing to say. Maybe it does have a big cultural impact. I'm just not thinking about it.
It did.
I think that's right. I don't have too much to say about it, honestly.
It was a good film. Yeah.
The sword
the stone. Never watched this.
You haven't seen it?
I watched this one, but I barely remember anything from it, so it's hard for me to contribute anything. I said no anthology films in this tier list. This is kind of an anthology film. It's like the Tasks of Hercules, almost. Where Merlin is convinced that this boy is going to be the king, but he also needs to train him correctly and educate him to be a good one. It's kind of like Merlin's story, almost. Yeah. The whole lady, what's something in the river, lady in the river, lady in the water.
I love this film as well. This is, as much as I like it, it belongs up here with these four. But as far as how good it is,
does it explain its theme well?
Its theme is morality, and Funnily enough, education, I guess. This would have to be a one I'd have to do a deep dive into to really understand it, which means watching it a few times. Arthur's arc is quite compelling. He does change quite a lot from beginning to end. He gets wiser, kind of like Pinocchio, just not as strong. Where do I put this?
Behind Bambi.
Behind Bambi?
Oh yeah.
Really? You don't think it's that good?
I don't think. I mean, I love the whole medieval Sword in the Stone stories, King Arthur stories, Excalibur. But like, I don't think it was that great of a film to be above Bambi. Bambi's a classic. Sword in the Stone is a classic for sure, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't give it above Bambi, personally. But again, I don't remember a whole bunch from it.
Well,
But I also
like
say
I
that
said, sometimes it's hard to judge these because all of these so far are still above average. Except maybe Dumbo. I think Dumbo is about average.
Poor Dumbo.
No knock on Dumbo. The average doesn't mean bad. It just means it's a film.
It was just straight to the point. Like, that was it.
Doesn't have much to say. But I could be wrong. Maybe there's more to
you
Dumbo
gotta-
than meets the
you-
eye. I don't know.
I mean, you got a live action, so I mean, it's something.
That doesn't say
We'll talk
much when
about
they're all
that.
getting one.
Talk about it later. Yeah.
I want to push it above Bambi, personally.
I mean, if it had a better narrative, were the characters better than Bambi?
There isn't much going on with the characters in Bambi, so yeah, I think by default. How Merlin treats Arthur is very realistic, and how they butt heads is very realistic as well.
Yeah,
Arthur,
'cause you gotta
Arthur,
remember-
I don't think Arthur is actually related to his family. I think he's adopted, which is why they call him Wart, and not his name.
So that's a whole bigger
But
thing.
even though
going
they treat him badly, he wants to be accepted by them. But he likes Merlin because Merlin treats him like a human being. That causes a clash when his family starts to give him more responsibilities that Merlin doesn't think is good for him. And he can do far much better. But Arthur takes that the wrong way. And the way they butt heads makes a lot of sense. From Merlin's point of view, it's like a naive child he's trying to educate and make better. Turn him into a great man. But Arthur can't see that. Yeah, no, I think it's the top of
it's
C tier at the moment.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's B tier. I'm thinking about it more and more. Is it better than Dalmatians and Cinderella? I think it is.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just overriding Wyatt.
You know, that's fine.
Overruled.
That's fine.
No, because it's just
Still
like
think it's not as good
Bambi-
as Bambi, but
Well, Bambi's was just like Bambi was born. He met his friends. His mom died. He met back with his friends. The owl tells him that about twiddle thoughting.
It's a documentary about a day.
Yeah, it's just a documentary. Like, it's just straight to the point.
Except they can talk.
What
But they still think and feel like animals.
I could just be oversaturated with all the different type of tellings of this type of story, and maybe at the time when this was released it would have been more unique, but its take on it didn't entertain me as much. But you know, he works. Not as good as Peter Pan. I'll take it. Still not.
I might have to do this in like a year's time to see if my list is different.
Rewatch them all again.
You know, yeah. Give me a year. I'll definitely have them all rewatched, and we can do this again.
Because by then I might have done a few more videos than some of these, and I might have a different take. Maybe this film's worse than I think it is, or it's better. I don't know.
I want you, after you rewatch it, I want you to come back and be like, all right, Wyatt, not as good as Bambi.
Alright, let's move on. Jungle Book.
The bare necessities.
The simple bare necessities.
Yeah, my favorite scene from this movie is the birds. They're like, "What do you want to do?" And then the
I
bird's
don't
like,
know.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Well,
Pretty
based off the
gold.
Beatles, we obviously have to sing, won't we?
It's a really big blur. Most of these movies are gonna be a big blur. Didn't have time to do the rewatch. But I'd say probably where you put it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It's funny. It has a good story, good narrative. I wouldn't say it was amazing. I
think I agree with
Jungle
you.
Book was awesome, but it's a cool story. You know, going back to growing up as a young boy, as I once
Yeah,
was,
in the jungle.
living in the jungle, having some cool friends to talk to, doing adventures.
Getting bored by snakes.
Yeah. Fighting a I think isn't there a Black Panther in this one?
Yeah,
I really-
Jaguar, I think he is.
The Jaguar, yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted
Bagheera.
a pet jaguar after watching this movie.
Bagheera's a good name for a cat. Found a black cat, I'll call him Bagheera.
Yeah, that is a good name. Panthers are jaguars, right? They're the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, panthers. Jaguars are
no.
panthers, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think panthers are.
Okay, no, leopards.
We're not
leopards
talking
and-
about that. Sorry,
we're
I
not
shouldn't have
talking
brought up the cat comment. I think the Jungle Book has a good message to it, which is what you want might not be healthy for you, and you need to do what's best for you. And probably like the value of friends that give you advice as well as another theme. Bagheera is seen as the guy that no one likes because he keeps telling people the truth. And Baloo is the fun, happy-go-lucky guy who you want to hang out with, but might not be healthy for you if you do. Yeah, I think those three have a good relationship going, actually, now I think about it more. Because Bagheera has his own little arc as well, where he realizes his methods are not working. Even though he is in the right. His execution is flawed.
Yeah.
Trying to force Mowgli to do what he doesn't want to do, instead of convincing him that it's the right thing.
There's a good villain in this movie too.
Shere
Khan.
Khan, yeah! I can't believe I didn't even mention him. He is a cool villain. He has an awesome voice. I forget who voiced him.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Shere Khan. And Car. Car's a cool character
I
too.
thought, and also speaking of Kingdom Hearts, this was one of the most memorable worlds for me in Kingdom Hearts 1. Mostly because there was like an achievement I wanted to unlock and I couldn't climb up one of the vines.
Really?
Wait, which Kingdom Hearts?
The first one, I think that's the one that had.
It was Tarzan.
I wasn't going to
Was it
say
Tarzan?
anything.
It
I was about
was
to call
Tarzan.
I was about to call you a fake geek gamer.
It was
Because there's no
Tarzan,
Jungle Book
that's right.
world in Kingdom Hearts, you fool.
You know, it's been a hot minute.
I was before the pitchforks come up.
I was about to say, how do you like
I
Shere
just-
Khan in Kingdom Hearts? Did they do a good job with Shere Khan?
There was
Muppet.
a tiger fight in this world, or some type of big cat fight.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I think in the beginning when you first get there, I think that's what you're talking about.
We're not talking about Kingdom Hearts.
That'll be another.
There's
video.
a Saber the Leopard boss fight. Kingdom Hearts.
Alright, where do we put Jungle Book?
a solid. Is it solid B, or would you put it a solid? B
I
plus?
think
Or would you say it's
for
a
its
B?
character trio dynamic with Baloo, Bagheera, and Mowgli. Because it's pretty strong. I think it's above Dalmatians.
Okay.
I think it has that over Dalmatians. I think the dynamic between Arthur and Merlin has a bit more going on, which is why I pushed it up a little bit. That seems right. Let's move on. The kitty cats, Aristocats. Everybody wants to be a cat.
Is that the one that is like, we are Siamese?
No. That's Lady and the
Which was
Tramp.
it? Damn it.
I'm such a
I
loser.
gotta stop drinking. I'm just kidding.
Or you need to drink more.
This is NyQuil.
Oh God! Stop.
I'm about to do another one.
That's true. I did drag you on when you were sick.
It's okay.
on
I'm a
top
tripper.
of kidnapping you for this. Aristocats. It has some interesting things in it. you talked about class-based themes going on. This one is number 1 on the list for that.
So what's to start off with, like a bunch of little cats at the bottom of the barrel, and they rise
Well,
up to the top.
This is all subtext, right? You got these pampered kitties who are living the high life in the upper class, and they meet an alley cat. And the way they both live their lives are very different. Their worlds clash. Even though the kids like him a lot, they get on fine. It's always kind of implied by how, what's his name? Thomas O'Malley. How he speaks to Duchess, that he knows he's kind of riffraff compared to them, which is why he keeps distancing himself from them. He doesn't leap to the chance to go show him the way home at first. The only reason he talked to Duchess in the first place because he wanted to give her the cat D. He's like, oh look, hot chick cat. I'm gonna go
Meow.
go woo. Yeah, meow. I'm gonna go woo her. Oh shit, she has kids. Okay, never mind. So he's kind of like that's a little scumbaggy, but it's understandable, I guess. Even though he's nice to them, he's like, I don't want anything to do with that. Never mind. Then push comes to shove, and then he sticks with them just to see them home. And as the film goes on, they meet more of Thomas O'Malley's class, so to speak. And it's kind of interesting how his friends, the Scat Cat gang, I think that's what he's called, Scat Cat, with his trombone.
Yeah,
or his
cat.
trumpet, whatever it was.
I think it's a trumpet.
It's interesting how they all like each other a lot. They're a tight-knit group, and yet each one of them is from a different ethnicity and culture. And yet it doesn't seem to make a difference. It's like a nice blend of culture, I guess, compared to the prim and proper... I'm rambling. I don't know how to put it. This might be one I have to talk to properly, like in an in-depth video, to do it justice. It's got some interesting things going on.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad film at all. I wouldn't rank it highly, you know.
I think, you know, when I said Dalmatians was a sleeper hit, I think what I meant to say is the Aristocats is a sleeper hit. People don't really remember it.
So then would you swap Dalmatians and Aristocrats together?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is the one that people don't talk about much. Not because of its quality. It had no cultural impact. Where would I put on the list?
I feel the
think that's
same
good.
way for the next one. Not next, but upcoming. Not upcoming, like later down the list.
I think it's actually more like here. Maybe.
I would say behind Cinderella, but
You
it
think
could be
Cinderella's better?
above Dalmatians. I think Dalmatians delivers a better story when it comes to that class divide. I would say class divide actually, but the Aristocats did have more diverse characters, different backgrounds, and how like getting to know one another, you can push through
At this point, we are
class divide. So maybe
basically...
it is better.
At the moment, we're judging them based on how well they execute their themes, because they're all competently written. Like, there are no major plot holes or anything like that, or world-building issues, or character inaccuracies, that sort of thing. So, it is hard to
Behind
judge.
Cinderella still off that. I think Dalmatian just executes what they're trying to put down really well.
You think Cinderella
compared to
does, or
Aristocats.
Dalmatian does?
Yeah, but that's what I would say. Maybe Adrian could be our tiebreaker. What do you think?
Yeah, there.
Okay. Don't give a reason. It's fine. We can move on. Maybe I'm too hard on Cinderella. I don't know.
Don't hate the Cinderella. She went through enough.
It's not really your heart on it. It's just more like, watch. You make this list, and then you watch it. We watch everything again and realize like, some stuff is not as great as you thought it was.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, the Fox.
I love this one.
Robin Hood's awesome. Yeah, it's up there with Peter Pan to me. It's a fun film. It's a cool concept. This badass dude helping out other dudes
Well, it's Robin Hood.
with the
He
rebellious.
is a compelling character inherently because of what he does.
No,
His
it's
philosophy,
kind of
He's Batman.
being a criminal to
help the good.
fight injustice.
Screw the rich.
Yeah,
Feed the poor.
yeah. This is not a
He's the
political
man.
video. I promise. We're not saying anything.
I think So I think we should just skip over that and just talk about how the movie was.
I'll tell you what. As far as action scenes go, this one's got a lot of good ones. Probably why I like it so much. The Arrow Tournament. The final heist at the end / prison break.
I don't know where we'd place that.
I don't know where I'm thinking about it. Yeah,
B plus.
B plus.
Yes.
I don't think its characters are as compelling as, say, the ones in Sleeping Beauty, or Peace in the Pan, or Alice.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, I don't think it's above Sword and Stone.
No.
Would it be above The Jungle Book?
No. I don't think it will. I like it a lot. Maybe here, actually, thinking about it honestly, critically, without bias.
Okay.
I do like it a whole lot, though.
I'll be okay with that. I would say
Prince John
still
steals
not
the
as good
show.
as Cinderella, but I don't know why I'm simping over Cinderella right now, but it's
That glass
Robin
slipper.
Hood is cool. It's that glass slipper. But
Yeah, that's fine. We
that
can move on.
works.
The rescuers.
The Rescuers.
I honestly have no opinions on it because I never watched it or heard
Watched
anything
it
about it.
finally,
Right, so this
that's
is
all
just
we
me
need.
talking, is it? That's fine. This film is good. How do I break it down in a simple way?
Is it a Chip and Dale?
It is...
mouth?
No. I'll give more credit than that. It's, no matter how small you are, you can make a big change. That is the theme. It has other stuff in it as well. That is interesting. Spoiler alert, I'm going to do a video about this eventually. This film.
Ooh.
I won't say when I'll do it,
But soon.
but soon.
This would be a good video one because I don't think it's as recognizable as a lot of
It's
these
not.
films on this list.
But surprisingly, it made a lot of money. It did very well at the time, even though it had no, like, cultural following after that. Because, this film got the first theatrical sequel ever. That we can rate
Oh,
on its own
interesting.
in a little bit. Yeah. And then that won't happen again until way down the line, like Wreck-It Ralph. Unless I'm mistaken. I'm talking specifically about ones that actually got released again in cinemas, in theaters.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to think about any other ones that got a sequel.
Which is
until
nuts, because, like,
Frozen.
you could have done it for Alice in Wonderland, you could have done it for any of these. But they picked the Rescuers. I don't know, it's interesting how things turn out. The theme is executed pretty well. Do I spoil it?
No.
I'll try not to spoil it. They used basically their wits and cleverness to defeat obstacles in a very compelling way. The villain is also quite interesting as well. She's kind of, at first you think she's kind of one note, but no, there are things about her that I could talk about for a little bit. She's kind of like an underrated villain. Medusa, that's her name. Fun fact, she was originally going to be Cruella de Vil again. They're going to bring her back to be the villain in this film. And she drives, she drives her car. Because they had already animated that bit.
Yeah.
It might be kind of shocking. I think it's not Pinocchio good, but it's up there.
The B+ leader.
It is the B+ leader. I might change it to A rank later. You two should watch it. I'll say that. Anyone watching should watch it. Alright,
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Fox and the Hound, don't bother. Sucks. Moving on. Black Cauldron.
This is another one I have not watched.
Wait, hold on.
Alright, yeah, your brain caught up there.
No, I was about to yell so loud. That's what I'm saying, like, I watched your like you love this film. Like that should be, if anything, that should be the leader of B tier then, or A behind Pinocchio.
It's better. It's better than Pinocchio.
Yeah,
I think so too.
yeah. That's one of the good. Good answers.
Maybe this is shocking. I don't think it's S tier. Maybe that's shocking. S tier is really, really, really hard to get on this list, but like deliberately. It's either A or A plus. Very little is wrong with this film. It is tight. Everything meshes together really, really well. Every character's actions in that film makes sense. There is no bad guy. It's just a crappy situation these characters find themselves in. And they muddle it through, despite making mistakes that, again, make sense for their characters to make. And it still somehow turns out okay at the end. It's not perfect, but it is pretty damn good at what it does. Considering that the production for it was an absolute mess. That I found out more and more as I got more and more comments. I learned a lot about that film after I made the video, which is really cool.
That's always cool, yeah.
Ah, fuck it. It goes an A plus.
A plus.
It started my
Beats out
it started my
Pinocchio.
YouTube career. I owe it for that.
I thought you said you weren't going to be biased. All right.
Shut up. My list. Black Cauldron.
Okay, I just watched this actually 3 hours ago. Well, prior of this video.
That's
I
true.
guess.
I
Yes,
was in
that
the cool
movie.
when you were
that
watching it.
movie. Yeah, that movie. That movie was not. It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
Okay, so tell you what, I'll get out the spotlight so you can talk about it. Why is it not great?
Well, the plot, it was okay. I honestly thought like that villain was a really like scary looking villain. Like in terms, like I felt like that was the scariest like a villain's gonna look.
The Horn King.
Well,
He
yeah,
was
the
too
Horn-
scary, you could say.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that was the scariest Disney's gonna get. Like then they made Maleficent, and I was like, all right, we're good. But
I say that because modern audiences didn't like the film for that. Parents got really angry, apparently.
I was gonna say the key, but now the video's here. As I was watching, it felt like the characters were drawn there, but it felt like themselves. The character was behind a green screen, like nothing fit. Like the characters themselves look cool, but then the background it seemed hella off.
Yeah, this film was
Like-
really chopped up. I think the production line for it was a long time, and they were using new tech. There's CGI in this film, which, funnily enough, it's still not the first film to use CGI.
Was it the ball? Or the
The what?
spear, the light spear? Was the ball? Was the light spear CG?
You mean the floaty thing that
The
the
little
girl
floaty
has?
thing, yeah.
I don't think that was, but there's the green mist around at the end of the Black Cauldron. That's all CG, I think. Some of the flame effects, I think, are CG as well.
When Gurgi fell into the cauldron, when that exploded, that looked all like Windows 90 effect.
Yeah, no, that's
Real-
fair.
real-
The animation is choppy.
Like it seems like they made the VFX, like they took it from like another action movie and then just put it in there and said, all right, we'll roll with it.
As far as the story goes, what do you think?
It wasn't bad. It was pretty solid. What's the main character's name? Taron. One from-
Taran, yeah.
Taron. Yeah, he wanted to be a warrior. He got himself into some shit, and
Yeah,
gotta
it's kind of the same thing, like living up to responsibilities, doing what you have to do rather than what you want to do. His responsibility is being a pig keeper, because the pig is really important. Even if that's not the cool thing, like being a cool warrior with a magic sword.
Once you realize,
He gives it up in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, other than that, I think this film's fine. It's nothing special. It's got a really cool imagery that I love. I appreciate it for that. I love the Horn King's design.
Yeah, like the whole overall everyone's design, it felt good. It just felt like them in their in the background. It just didn't feel right.
As far as character stuff goes, it's a bit flat. What's her name? Ionwi? She's kind of compelling until halfway through the film, where they have their little spat, they have their fight, and then like their characters just kind of switch off. Well, they don't switch off; they switch. Like Taran's an asshole until that point, and then he's a good person after one argument. It's like, okay, that happened, I guess. And then she doesn't have much to do or say or act in any way after that point.
It was certainly a film. I like the visual effects with the sword.
Yeah, I feel like maybe not Disney nowadays, but someone should make another attempt at maybe not a film, but an animated series of the Prydain Chronicles, which is what this film is from. And it's actually not the first one. The Black Cauldron's the second one. I think they kind of meshed the first book and second book together for one film. I think. I'm not sure. I tried to read the books once when I was a kid and I didn't read them all. Yeah, I think this film is fine. I think it belongs next to Bambi and Snow White.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, if this was a tier list on visuals, I'd definitely put that at the bottom.
That's
but
fair enough.
We're talking about the theme narratives. And it kind of hit it a little bit.
Alright.
So yeah.
Why, you didn't see it, did you?
I did not. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't have any recollection of this film at all.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's got some cool things in it. Gurgi gets a cool character arc. He actually has the best character writing, I think.
Pretty much.
I've said this before. Gurgi is Jar Jar Binks if he was a good character. If he was well written. If that character was what George Lucas thought it was going to be.
Oh.
He's not just annoying.
He wants
I
to
think.
friend. He just wants munchins and crunchins.
Yep, and he is a shitbag at the beginning, and then he feels really bad about it. So bad, in fact, that he,
Hurled himself in the fucking Black Cauldron. Like, god damn.
that makes the ultimate sacrifice. Anyway, The Great Mouse Detective. I think this is another one that Wyatt hasn't seen. Have you seen it? Alright, well, this film is pretty damn good. It's Sherlock Holmes in his element, except he's a mouse.
I like Sherlock Holmes.
Rattigan and... so Rattigan's the villain. Sherlock, Basil of Baker Street is his actual name. They have a really good rivalry that's really compelling. This film is fun to watch. I recommend it. Seeing a genius in action, seeing how he solves his problems. He's a very clever mouse, and they show it in clever ways. Where to put it? I think it's right between these two. Maybe actually here. I think the rest... I might be a little bit biased towards the Rescuers. I think these two are about the same. I think they're about on par. But I have to put one on top of the other. Alright, moving on.
Moving on.
Oliver and Company.
Never seen it. Got no sword.
Which one is this?
Oliver Twist, but with cat and dogs.
I don't think I've seen this one either.
This film is fine. I like it a lot. It was one of the ones I watched to death when I was a kid. It's fine. The gang, I mean, in Oliver Twist, it's at least in like the original live action version that I'm thinking of, it's not hugely compelling seeing Oliver Twist with the miscreants. and I forget his name, the old man. It's more about the relationship between Dodger and the old man and Oliver. It's kind of like the driving force of that original film. In this film, however, the dog gang that Oliver joins is a lot more compelling. They have very great personalities that shine. And it makes it way more fun to watch Oliver hang out with these guys. And like that family bond they have. And how they feel hurt that Oliver doesn't want to live with them anymore. But only because he gets attached to a girl who adopts him. Quite by accident. It's got that going for it. People kind of sleep on this one a little bit. It was kind of like one of the last, actually the last Dark Age film, I'm pretty sure. And it got slapped in the theatre race by Don Bluth's film, because he was on a roll at this point. Because he broke off from Disney. And he made a little film called The Land Before Time, which destroyed the box office compared to Oliver.
I remember that one.
Yeah, of course you do. Everyone does.
Oh yeah.
Oliver tried to compete with it. It didn't win. But by no means a bad film. I think it's above Cindy.
It's just
I
a
trust
glass
your judgment.
slipper. It's just a glass slipper.
I think it's there. One thing I'll give Robin Hood over I hadn't mentioned before. I know it's not its turn anymore. But you want to talk about family bonds, the entire town joining forces with each other and looking after each other's backs all the time because of the tyranny. That's very compelling to watch as well. Even though they're all strangers, and there's so many of them. The injustice kind of brings them all together, and they really work as a team at the end to fight against the king and his men.
Oh, how trauma can bring us together.
Yeah. Maybe it's above Robin Hood, actually. Maybe not. It'll stay there for now. That's it. That's an end of another era. Moving on to the Renaissance.
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid under the sea.
Classic. Under the sea.
What's about to start?
I've got
big-ass
gadgets and
controversy soon.
gizmos aplenty.
Nothing is better. Nothing is wetter.
Think my vomits? I got plenty.
Swim this way, we'll dance and we'll play.
Start big ass controversy soon, but that's a whole different. That's a different video.
B plus. That's a good one. Mermaids. Big old king, Zeus-like with a trident, or Poseidon-like. Shipwrecks.
The characters.
I'll let you guys start, that's fine.
It was like they all were trying to tell Ariel don't do it, and she didn't really listen. Nobody. I mean, the only one that really like had her back was like Flounder, but Flounder was trying to tell her no. But then again, she still went and signed the signature, almost destroyed the entire kingdom.
Yeah. It's kind of got like a be careful what you wish for vibe, even though she does get what she wishes for in the end. It's also got a leap of faith theme to it as well. Risk it all to get what you want. Which can be very dangerous, and it is dangerous. But it does it pretty well. Ursula's a great villain.
Yeah, so yeah, you can say she's probably one of the best.
She is one of the greats. People remember her for a reason. We're getting into the films now where every villain is great, almost.
Yeah, we're getting to the good parts now.
As far as I'd rate it, I think it's decent.
It's overall, yeah.
I actually think
explaining the
it's,
plot
compared
good.
to the other Renaissance films, I think it's one of the weakest, but it's not a weak film. It's just that's a very hard lineup to compete with.
To me, it has so many good scenes, so many good songs.
It does, yeah.
Musical,
I think it's a good story.
They broke
it's
away from
compelling to watch.
the experimental Dark Age phase, and they moved on to the safe and tried and tested Broadway formula, where they have song breaks, and the story is told partially through song, which is a very Renaissance heavy way of doing things, because they all kind of do that almost.
a lot of grandeur. It's a solid film, in my opinion.
Very easy to see why it was popular. The songs are very well written. But I'm not a music theory man, I'm a story breakdown man. So I won't say anything about the music, except I like it. Where to put it on the list?
Hey, behind
It
Pinocchio.
does its theme well, but just in terms of like how the characters treat each other.
I think it goes behind The Great Mouse Detective.
That could work.
I don't think it's
Alright.
quite A, but it is pretty good. I think she sits there for now. The Rescuers 2, have you guys seen this?
Well, nope. Never
Nope.
heard of the first one. Never heard of the second one. The Rescuers is completely two movies I never heard of.
Right,
Like, when you
well,
first told me about them, I thought you were talking about I keep forgetting that other one, A Tale in the West or whatever, with the other mouse.
that's a Don Bluth film. You're talking about
It was like A Tale in the
American
Wild
Tale.
West. American Tale, yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. The Rescuers 2 is an oddball. It's very bizarre that it even happened. But I like it a whole lot. I think it was the first film that was made in Toon Boom, but I don't... Actually, that might be a lie. I'm not sure. It looks like it, but I don't think that's actually true. I think that's still the Iron Giant. As far as this film goes, story-wise, I haven't actually seen it for a long time. I remember liking it a whole lot.
So for now, you just keep it at the bottom of B+.
I think it's... Yeah, I think it's there. That might be weird. I think a lot of people might disagree with that. They probably think it's better than the first one. I beg to disagree. As far as character goes, in this one, it leans very heavily towards Bernard. He's got a lot going on. Whereas in the first film, it's very much balanced between his two. They're like a tight-knit unit. And what I mean by that is, Bernard has an arc, and it is a good arc. It's about manning up and taking charge. And it kind of follows through from the first film. Because he doesn't change too much in the first film, whereas in this one he does. And yeah, that's pretty compelling to see. Bianca doesn't get much to do in this film. I'm struggling to think of what to say about it, really. You'll have to wait for my video to talk about why The Rescuers is really good. I guess. I know that sounds really lame, but this isn't supposed to be in-depth. I think it's... yeah, I think it's there. Maybe even below Arthur. But it can stay there for now. Alright, Beauty and the Beast.
I think this movie is overrated.
Really?
I don't know, like the story. This dude wanted to be left alone in his castle. Someone shows up, he kidnaps her. She gets Stockholm syndrome, and then a bunch of people are trying to kill him, and she wants to stay there. I don't know. Don't like the plot. Don't like the premise. Music isn't that good.
Be our guest? You don't like
Characters
that?
not interesting. The Beast is cool. I like him.
Be our
but-
guest. Be our guest.
Yeah, I guess.
The talking kitchen plateware. I don't know. Wasn't the biggest fan. Probably one of my least favorite Disney movies.
No one spits like Gaston. No one plays like Gaston. That doesn't tickle your pickle.
Exactly. Damn. Oh, what should?
Gaston,
No.
the original Giga Chad.
Nope. I didn't like him.
Someone
Emma
in my
Watson
comments
didn't
I
even
saw
redeem the
recently. I try to read comments from time to time for my Fox and the Hound video, but there are so many. But one of them said that Gaston was an anti-villain. He is not an anti-villain. He is a low-tier villain. He's kind of like Cruella, where he's not too evil. He is not an anti-villain. His actions are not pure or genuine, or righteous in any way. He is a scumbag who looks nice, and people like him. He tries to force a woman to marry him against her will by blackmailing her. and getting her father potentially locked up in an asylum. That man is a royal prick. But he has a very catchy song. Anyway, now that's off my chest. Sorry, I remember that comment, seeing it, and I was like, no,
He's not.
no, he's not an anti-villain. Would not put him in that category. If you disagree, comment again, I guess, in this one. We can have a little chat. maybe.
If it was my choice, I'd put D+ for Beauty. and
D.
the Beast.
So not like less than good, less than average, you say?
Yep, I know a lot of people love this film, but every time I watched it, I didn't enjoy it. Thought it was not entertaining.
What about you, Adrian?
Well, yeah, I loved it. It brought a huge amount. I felt at the time when I first watched it, I felt that was the most most Disney element in a movie at the time, because you had all like the talking like furniture, everything was fucking talking. So I'm like, god damn, this is well, not like the trees and shit, but like everything like in the house was mostly talking, so it was pretty cool. Like at first, the building between like Belle and Beast was cool. And then I realized like, this isn't like a promised princess relationship you'd want.
The only thing I might knock it for is I'm definitely sold that Beast is into Belle, and he's not just doing it to get out of his curse. And he does genuinely like her. It's more for Belle's side, choosing to stay with Beast after he becomes a handsome man again. I almost think that this film would be stronger if he had just stayed a Beast at the end. And he just the curse was broken in the way that he didn't die. I know it kind of sucks because that means all the other guys in that castle stay as items.
Yeah.
And maybe you could have like a self-sacrificing scene at the end where the fairy comes back. And she's like, "Do you feel like you've learned your lesson?" And he's like, "No, I haven't. But could you please fix everyone else?" And then she's like, "You know what? I like that answer. I'll do that. Maybe you have changed. Maybe you can change one day. I'll change you back if you can stay on this consistent path." And maybe maybe that would be a better ending. I don't know. That's just a theory I had out of my head just now. I've never thought about that.
It seems like that way though. It would have been like she would have looked past that and be like, "Oh well, if you want to look out for them, well, I might as well look out for you too," and then turn everyone into a human. So that theory that can work. It can work.
I don't know. I think this film is solid. I think it's like middle of the road compared to all the other Renaissance films. I definitely don't think it's D+.
A solid B.
I think it's a solid B as well. Maybe... Oh, do I rate it behind Jungle Book? I don't think so.
Nah, the Jungle Book probably had a better.
No, I think it goes up here.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, maybe I'll change my mind later. I don't know. That feels right to me. Maybe that's a film worth doing a deep dive on. Yeah, we'll see.
Arabian Nights.
Prince Ali, fabulous he. Where does he go?
Aladdin's fire. I really like this movie.
Aladdin is fire. That's a good way to put it. Aladdin is fire.
Beginning to the end, Robin Williams made this movie even better. It's fun. Good story.
Their duo
Cool characters,
dynamic is
good villain.
probably one of the best duo dynamics.
Everyone wants to have 3 wishes, and I think this movie did a good job in a kid-friendly manner to show the repercussions of having wishes, and the friendship between the genie and Aladdin was really awesome. Magic carpet, right around a magic carpet, sneak up, and it also gets to the classism theme. Starts at the bottom.
It's got that. It's got a lot actually in this film, doesn't it? It's a little bit of a cut above Ariel, a Little Mermaid, I think. Because I think the Little Mermaid was... I keep thinking Little Mermaid came first and then Aladdin did. I keep forgetting Beauty and the Beast came after that. It was like, these two were like... the girl movies. Like, I'm butchering this sentence, so... How Disney tends to do it, usually, is that they'll have a movie that's intended to be enjoyed by girls, and then sometimes a movie intended for boys. A good example of this is Frozen, intended for girls, but can be enjoyed by boys. Wreck-It Ralph, intended for boys, can be enjoyed by girls. Tangled, intended for girls, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Big Hero 6, intended for boys, can be enjoyed by girls. Little Mermaids, intended for girls, can be enjoyed by boys, and I do enjoy it a lot. Aladdin is inherently more appealing, and not just because it's a male lead, but that is partially that goes into it as well. Biases aside, I think it either goes
Either it'll take the
up
leader
here or up here.
I'm okay with A tier and above personally. In that range.
The relationships between characters in this film are very strong, especially Aladdin and the
nothing-
genie.
Yeah,
And the fact that
nothing really
it's
good.
the friendship that ends up becoming far more valuable than any amount of wishes would be. It's a nice little story.
Okay.
It
It was good. Yeah, A tier is a good spot.
possibly better than Pinocchio, honestly. It's just I think Pinocchio is really good. I think people sleep on that film.
He's a real boy.
Alright. The Lion King.
The Lion King.
What do we feel about The Lion King?
Some of my favorite music from nearly a Disney film for sure.
Definitely, probably, if not
What?
most of
Before
the-
you answer that, I'm just gonna put this here for no particular reason. Go on. How do you feel about The Lion King?
Very emotionally it's a very emotional film. Like I feel like watching this compared to all the other films we've tiered already, like it can evoke more feelings. Just the scene with Simba's father dying, Mufasa, was so powerful. I don't. There's like Bambi's mom dying at the beginning. That hurt for sure, but it happened so soon. Like we thought Mufasa was a badass. We got more into the film, more into the character development, and this stampede, and then Scar. That was Scar killing his brother. It just all around such a good, impactful, emotional scene that I don't think any of these have really had. To me personally, and that in itself makes it an amazing movie. And then just on from there, he has to run away because his evil uncle took over and falls into the scene where he's running away, and he falls into these thorny bushes and then rolls out, and the hyenas can't get to him, and he and then how Timon and Pumbaa just kind of like wallop up to them. It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. I don't know. I think it might beat Aladdin in my opinion. But these are the movies that like I grew to love. I guess what you're calling the Renaissance time. These are my favorite films, even outside of Disney. Some of my favorite films.
All right, Adrian, anything to add?
The Lion King definitely shaped. Like I feel like before I continue, like there's always like one of these movies down like on this list that like shaped a generation into like what they are today. And I feel like The Lion King was like that for our generation. Then probably a few others down the list. Aladdin, Lion King, Aladdin, Jungle Book. But it was mainly like The Lion King. When you like talk about it with other people, it's always The Lion King the first to talk about. I feel like at the most is the most memorable. The theme.
What do you think the strongest theme is? Or possibly the only theme.
The only theme is just like you can't always like run away from your problems. Eventually, you're gonna have to face the music. How I think they executed it, though, it's like rewatching it again. It's like, damn, it's kind of fucked up. It's just like this kid's learning to become. He's realized he becomes the king. He has to learn his ways to become the king, but we don't get any of that because his father dies. So now we have to watch this kid cub grow up to be a teenage cub. To which I won't explain further details of Can You Feel the Love Tonight, but after that, he goes back.
I can see what's happening.
He goes back to his home, challenges his uncle, and then he becomes king of Pride Rock. I feel like I don't know. For me, it feels pretty piss poor, but that's it. Yeah, it just felt pretty piss poor.
Wait, what does?
Like the execution of the theme, like rewatching it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I was gonna take my turn. Can you explain that a little bit?
It's just like I don't know. I guess we didn't get the arc of him growing up. We didn't get there was no argument with the dad. None of that shit. It was he grew up. Nala shows up and says, "Yo, you gotta come and play the king." I don't want to be the king. And then he gets that little lesson from the monkey, and then that little lesson was really what it took for him to come back.
But that's piss poor.
For me, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll start off by saying, this isn't actually my favorite Renaissance film, but I will acknowledge it is the best one. And it's still my second favorite, to be fair. Some people might say it's overrated. I'm sure loads of people have said that. Because it's made the most money by far. It was the highest grossing animation film of all time for a long time. And I think I might be wrong, but I think it was only beaten by The Lion King, the live action version, that made the most money after that. I could be wrong. There might be something in between that actually did for a while.
I mean, that would make sense if it did.
I don't think it's overrated. I think it's accurately rated, which is nice because that doesn't happen often. Usually things are overrated or underrated, how I see it. But The Lion King is accurately praised, I think.
So would you keep it as S?
Yes.
Yes. I tried.
I think out of all of these films, it might still be the best one. And I haven't even rated the other ones yet, the future ones. But that's a maybe. I'm not 100% on that. I'd have to be convinced. I'd have to really think about this and have its own video. I might have to make like a top 5 of all time Disney films video or something like that to really, really think about it. This is just a general off-the-cuff thoughts on every film. This isn't supposed to be in depth. But, yeah, everything about this film is top tier. Not just the story. The music, the visuals, everything is knitted together perfectly. At least near perfectly. There may be some, like, tiny flaws. Nitpicky flaws. I'm sure there are. Someone who can do it better than I can explaining why this film is good. If you haven't seen it, check out YMS's Your Movie Sucks' video on The Lion King. I can't speak. Hold on. I take a sip. I need to get my words out. YMS's video on The Lion King live action remake. Because not only does he crap on that film and break that down and explain why it's terrible, but at the same time he explains why the original is so good. And he does a very good job of it. And unlike me, he is also a music theory man. So he'll go in depth in like the music for The Lion King as well, and how excellent it is. Go on. What were you gonna say?
Music. Yeah, I agree with you. Have you heard of the hero's journey? The whole thing?
Yes, I am aware of the hero's journey. It's
I'm sure, and I feel like Lion King has a lot of the elements of that whole system of making a story, especially when even actually when he was younger, he was like, Foss was like, you need to take up my mantle when you get older, and he's like, no, I just want to go have fun and chill. And that narrative comes back a couple times. You know, the call to action, and he denies it, and then denies it again, and eventually, you know, he comes to terms and saves the day. And there's
Yeah.
So breaking
Go on.
the fourth wall of this video here. You didn't put this wasn't planned, right? That the S rank there for Simba. No, that's the question.
No, that's why it's there. S for Simba, A for Aladdin.
All right, A for Pinocchio.
B
there's
for
an A in
B
his
for
name.
Beauty and the
Short.
Beast. I think that's it.
The Jungle Book. You know,
Book.
sword in the curb.
Were you gonna make a point or?
No,
Okay.
that's
So-
the question. Was this planned? Like, did you have Lion King to be the S rank?
Yes. Most of these I actually didn't know where I was gonna rank it before I did this video. It was supposed to be off the cuff, just really digging into my brain, offhand. But some of them I did have an idea of where I was gonna put them already. I knew Pinocchio was gonna go in A, and I knew The Lion King was gonna go in S. The execution of the theme in The Lion King is very, very strong. You did say it almost the same way I would say it about Simba trying to run away from his problems. It's trying to run away from responsibility and doing what you want rather than what you need to do, because what you fail to do will affect others in a very, very bad way. And it's not entirely Simba's fault for running away. That is Scar's handiwork. But the fact that he ran away from his responsibility and who he needs to be for so long, and it caused so many problems. And coming to grips with letting go of your past. Very strong. The Lion King has probably been dissected and broken down and praised to death on YouTube. I probably recommend watching everything about it, everything that breaks it down. There's probably a lot of really good videos out there that do it far better than I could. But maybe one day I'll do it anyway, just to give you my take on it. Not anytime soon though, I've got other ideas. But yeah, The Lion King is S. Everything in it is great. The supplementary elements like the music and the visuals. Its intro. It tells you exactly what you need to know about this world, the circle of life. But yeah, I'd say this was the peak of the Renaissance. The peak of, arguably, the peak of Disney films. Or is it the peak of Disney films? More on that later.
I think it's a good spot. On this note, I'm gonna hop off.
Alright. We have been going on for a while. Me and Adrian can take it from here.
Mm-hmm.
Final comments, Brother Bear.
Hang on.
Phil Collins.
Don't just leave. Okay. Do you want to plug yourself real quick?
Oh yeah. If you want to check out my channel, Box 5 Gaming, I only have like 2 videos on there, but there'll be more coming in the next couple months. Follow.
You've done a review on a game called what was it?
Across the Obelisk.
How was it?
It's like an 8-minute review on a small indie game. But the next review I do is gonna be on Hogwarts Legacy, and it's gonna be fun.
There you go.
I hope. It could
I
be
will
terrible.
probably not do any breakdowns on video games anytime soon, if not ever, unless one has a really good story to it. So, if you want game breakdowns, go to Wyatt's channel, which will be a link. But thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you guys. All right, I'm out. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Good night, Wyatt.
Night.
Good night.
Don't be too hard on Wyatt. He is sick. I dragged him here,
He took like 7 shots of NyQuil.
so he needs the sleeps. Luckily I don't, because I'm undead.